Okay, we have seen how to create the invoice transaction and standard receipt creation. We'll see how to create the credit memo. So you have a transaction with 5,000. And we can create manual credit memo or automatic credit memo. For our testing, we'll create one manual credit memo maybe with $1,000. We'll create automatic credit memo with 1,000. Remaining outstanding amount would be 3,000. For this, we'll create receipt and we'll apply. First, we'll go and create transaction with the $5,000. Go to billing task. Task pan. Create transaction. Select our transaction source. Select customer. Provide line information. It's $5,000. Say complete and review. So transaction number 1 status is complete. Now we want to reduce $1,000 through manual credit memo. In receivables, with any reason, if you want to reduce the transaction amount, we use only credit memo. Receivables, debit memo is for positive, with a positive sign we use. We'll discuss when we can use the debit memo. With any reason, if you want to reduce the transaction amount, we use only credit memo in the receivables application. Fine. Click on cancel to close it. Go to task pan, click on create transaction. We want to create credit memo transaction. Select transaction class as credit memo. Select transaction class as credit memo. Now select transaction source, whatever we created for credit memo. Alt INC, credit memo transaction source, that would default transaction type also, and select customer. And here you can write correction. Say $1,000, enter minus $1,000. Complete and review. So completed. Now this credit memo we want to apply on transaction number 2 to reduce $1,000. Click on cancel. Go to navigator, select task called as accounts receivable. Go to task pan. Here we have one task called as manage credit memo applications. Click on manage credit memo applications. And here select our business unit before we search. Alt INC. The credit memo number is 1. The credit memo transaction number is 1. This credit memo we want to apply on which transaction. So select this record, click on edit. So this credit memo, here is a credit memo. $1,000. This credit memo you want to apply on which transaction? Select the transaction by clicking on Add Open Receivables. Our transaction number is 2. Search. Okay, here is the transaction with the 2 with the 5,000 amount. Click on Add. Click on Done. So now we applied the credit memo amount on the transaction. Now the transaction due became 4,000. We reduce 1,000. Just say one close. This is a one option to create credit memo and to apply the credit memo on the transaction. The other option is very simple. Go to billing work area. On the same transaction number 2, I want to reduce one more 1,000. Original amount is 5. We reduce 1,000 with the credit memo. We want to reduce one more 1,000 with the credit memo. But I don't want to create the credit memo through manual process. I want to automate credit memo creation process. Okay. I want to automate. Somebody posted, I'm not able to hear you. Is that everyone or how it is? Can you hear me? Anyone, please?
Yes, Lakshman, we are able to hear. I am able to hear you.
Okay, great. Then it should be same
Yes, sir.
others. Yeah. I think Sandhya posted. Not sure she's able to hear us or not. Let me just write the message. Okay, fine. So now we'll see how to create the automatic credit. So here is the task called as credit transaction. Click on credit transaction. We want to reduce the amount from which transaction? Transaction number is 2. Provide transaction number here and filter with the customer information. Search. Say okay. Find out the transaction. Yes, here is the transaction. Select. So from this transaction, we want to reduce 1,000. If you look at this transaction, the original amount is 5,000. There was some activity performed. That is nothing but credit memo we created. Now current balance is 4,000. From this 4,000, we want to reduce one more 1,000. Okay. When you reduce a one more 1,000, system will create credit memo. Here we have a credit memo section. Okay, whenever you reduce 1,000, system has to create the credit memo with 1,000. So select transaction source as credit memo transaction source. Okay, done. Now from this 5,000, how much you want to reduce? Here you can enter the amount or else percentage you can give on this 5,000. 10% you may give, it will take 500. Or else directly you enter 500 here or enter 1,000. Here enter 1,000 minus 1,000. Now the balance will become 3,000 only in this original transaction. Automatically is taking 1,000 means how much percent? 20% on 5,000. So input these details, then click on complete and close. System will create credit memo with 1,000 automatic. You no need to create the credit memo, just you are providing these details and you are selecting the original transaction, how much amount you want to reduce, you are specifying. Then automatically system will create the credit memo. Just click on complete and close.
Uh, this should it not be linked at transaction type level, like when we create transaction type? So
Not required.
there is credit.
Not required. That is required when you are importing some information from other systems. Okay.
Okay, okay,
Not required here. Yeah, done. Now we'll
okay.
go
And
and
the same
see.
thing we can do from if we open the transaction and credit that particular thing, same thing will happen, right? This
Yes.
automatic one only, na there.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, okay.
I will go and see the transactions, whatever created. Okay, go to manage
Lakshmi, what is the
transaction.
difference between complete and review and complete and close?
Complete, review, complete, close. What is that? We'll see that. One second. Let me just take
Okay.
spot. Fine. Here you search with the customer details. Search. Now you can see how many credit memos are created. Okay. So this is the one which we created through manual process. The system created credit memo. You can see it is created against transaction to its original transaction number is 2 on that system created. So this is how you can create the credit memo through manual process, or else you can automate the process by providing basic inputs. Now tell me, what is your question? What is the status you are referring?
I was saying, like, when we have created the invoice earlier, we were using complete and review. Now in this case, we used complete and close. So
See,
what is the
one
difference?
second. When you click on the tab called as complete, it will complete.
Yeah.
Along with that, if review is there, it won't close the window. It will keep that completed transaction for our review purpose to see.
Oh, okay, okay. Got
Okay, got it?
it.
Fine. Yeah, that's it. Okay, done. Now we'll create the receipt. Still, we have a 3,000 on this transaction. We'll go and create the receipt. So go to receipt workbench, accounts receivable. Go to task list, so create receipt. Select receipt method, check. And enter receipt number. So this is the receipt number. Receipt amount, say $3,000. This amount we received from which customer? Provide customer details. Select customer site. Now say submit and apply. So this receipt we want to apply on which transaction? Transaction number 2. Click on add open receivables. Transaction number 2. Search. So outstanding is 3,000. We reduce 2,000 with the 2 different credit memos. Select. Click on add. Click on done. So we applied 3,000 receipt on 3,000 transaction. There is no due amount against this transaction. Now say save and close. So this is how we can create credit memo through manual process or automatic process. Okay, done. Now we'll
Then
see.
normally, which one do we use? I mean, is it a normal creation and or it's like through I mean, accounting wise it would be same. Impact wise
Hey,
it would
no
be same.
difference, no difference. Two options are there, which is quick that we generally use, that is automatic. Simply you can go to task pan, there is a credit transaction, click on credit, pick the original transaction. There is a link, right? If you go and create
Yeah.
manual process, again you have to identify for which transaction it was created. You have to search, find, apply.
Mm-hmm.
You may apply in the wrong transaction, right?
Right, right.
So
Okay,
we
so
generally
like
use automatic.
hmm, Okay.
Yes.
So what we call is there is a term called on account credit memo. So
We'll
that
come to
is
know.
referred to
We'll come to
manual,
know.
right?
See here. On accounting,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
We'll discuss. Right.
Lakshman, what will be the credit memo entries?
Reverse entry only.
Okay. Revenue debit, receivable credit.
Yeah, reverse opposite.
Okay.
Tables also expense or charge debit, liability credit, debit or credit memo, reverse entry. Here also reverse. If we are reducing, we have to reverse the entry with respect to amount. Done.
Okay.
Now we'll see debit memo. In receivables, debit memo is the positive side. Okay, in payables, debit and credit memos we create with the negative sign. Debit memo and payables we create in case of purchase returns, and credit memo other than purchase returns with any reason if you want to record, if you want to reduce the amount, we create in the payables. But receivables, with any reason if you want to reduce the amount, we use credit memo, any price corrections and all. Even if customer is going to return any material, that we treat as sales returns. Sales returns will be performed in the order management. Based on the sales returns, automatically credit memo would be created in the receivables application. Okay, receivables application. The last session we have seen as a part of P2P prior to that. So we performed purchase returns in inventory. System created debit memo in the payables. And here, whenever you perform the sales returns in the order management application, with the same information, system will create the credit memo automatically in the receivables. Okay, that is one point. Other point, manually you can create, that could be automating within the receivables, or within the receivables creating the credit memo through manual process. So when we use the debit memo is similar to invoice transaction only. What is the use case? Say you have a transaction with $25,000. Now you created one receipt against this with the 5,000 and you applied. Still 20,000 would be outstanding within this transaction. Now you realize transaction amount should be 30,000. By mistake you created for 20,000, 25,000, it should be 30. Since you applied receipt on the transaction, you cannot go into incomplete. If no receipt is applied, you can go to the transaction, you can incomplete and you can update the amount with 30,000. But already you created receipt. You may create the receipt or you may create the credit memo. If you apply the credit memo or receipt on any transaction, you will not have any option to incomplete. To take the case, you create a receipt and you apply. Since you applied receipt on the transaction, you cannot go and do incomplete to update the amounts. So within this transaction total 25, you applied 5,000 receipt, only 20,000 is outstanding. But reality it should be total 30. Now what we will do is to just add some 5,000 to existing transaction, you create debit memo. In the debit memo, you enter 5,000. Within this debit memo, you give this transaction number. This transaction number may be 3. That 3 you will be providing within this also. For this, there could be some separate number, debit memo number would be there. So you will be providing the why you are creating this debit memo with the reference of this transaction. The transaction number is 3. So that's how you can create. Ultimately, this debit memo is same as invoice transaction. There is no difference. But if you want to create the transaction to add some amounts to existing transaction, you create. We call as adding amount to existing transaction, but reality, this 5,000 is not going to be added to this transaction 3. It won't get added, just only reference. When you get the amount, when you get say 25, already you got 5,000. Now here still 20 would be there, here 5 already you added. When you get 25,000 next time from the customer, you select this transaction and this transaction, you apply the receipt on these two transactions. So that is a use case where we use the debit memo, or else you may create one more transaction with 5,000, nothing wrong. Okay, but ideally, just since it is some sort of adjustment, adding some additional amount, always we prefer to go with a debit memo transaction. Debit memo we use with the positive sign only. To add some amounts to existing transactions, we use the debit memo concept. So let's see the same use case. So we'll create transact the 25, we'll create receipt with the 5,000. System won't allow us to incomplete the transaction. Then we'll create one debit memo with the reference and we'll capture the additional amount which is missing in the transaction 3 for reality. Create transaction with the $25,000. So go to billing task. Create transaction. So select transaction source, invoice, customer, Alt INC. Write anything as goods or services. So we want to create the transaction with the $25,000. Complete and review, or you can say complete and close. If you say complete and close, this page will be closed. Since we given review, it is generated. It is skipping the number, some issue in the instance. Ideally, it should be third. Now it is generating 1001. No issues. Now just make a note. The transaction number is 1001. Now create receipt with the 5,000 and apply the 5,000 receipt on this transaction number. Cancel to close this page. And switch to receipt work area. Accounts receivable. Go to task list. Create receipt. Select receipt method. So receipt number, enter receipt number, enter amount, how much we received, 5,000 received from the customer, and select customer details, Alt INC, and select site information, and say submit and apply. Click on add open receivables. Our transaction number is 1001. Search. So apply the receipt on this transaction. Just click on add and click on done. Okay, the 5,000 receipt is applied on this 25,000 transaction. Still we have a 20,000 due. Save and close. Now if you go to transaction, if you go to transaction page, go to transaction work area. So go to manage transactions. Search with the customer or else transaction number 1001. Customer name is Alt INC, so you can filter. Open this transaction. See, you cannot incomplete it. Reason, you applied the receipt. You can see view balance details. The original amount is 25. Receipts created for 5. Outstanding is 20. So incomplete is disabled. Now real amount, this amount should be 30,000. By mistake, we entered 25 only. Now how to correct? There is no option. Only the option is create one more transaction as a debit now. Means you are adding some additional amount. For that, create debit memo. Say create transaction. Select here debit memo. Alt INC debit memo transaction source. Alt INC. You can say addition. You're adding some amount. How much you want to add? 5,000. Complete and review. The debit memo transaction number is 1001. That's how we given debit memo starting number, we given the same. We created. Now just customer has to pay this 5,000 plus remaining 20,000, total 25,000. So you receive 25,000 from, sorry, here, provide the reference. I just forgot to include that point. So we created a debit memo number also, 1001. I can see. Search. Here is our debit memo. Okay. Go to show more and go to miscellaneous tab. Here is a cross reference. Okay. Here you can write this you are creating against which transaction. Just as a cross reference. This debit memo you are creating, you add the amount related to this existing transaction. Okay. You can give sales invoice number so and so. This is just reference purpose. If you look at this transaction, you can understand by seeing that cross reference is this. Right? Cancel to close. Say customer paid remaining 20 plus this 5,000 which you added with the debit memo and create receipt with $25,000. So create
Lakshman, it's
receipt.
just a reference, right? Nowhere we will link the original
No
transaction.
control, no control. Really, it is not going to add any balances to existing transaction. Just we
Oh.
still like to add, but reality it won't add. It will stand as a separate transaction. The balance is totally different from these two transactions.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So receipt method and receipt number. Say this is a receipt number. How much amount we received? $25,000 we received. From which customer we received. So I can create the transaction without customer also. If I create transaction without customer, this receipt, sorry, I can create this receipt without customer. If I create the receipt without customer, this receipt is called as unidentified receipt. Means customer is not identified. We received some check is received, but who sent we don't know. Once we received, we'll enter in the system, but we don't know just who paid. We don't know customer details. In that case, you can create receipt like this and you can save it. Okay, you can just submit, you can just save it. You cannot apply on any customer transaction. This sort of receipts we call as unidentified receipts. You are not able to identify the customer, so unidentified receipt we call. We know the customer. So submit and apply. Click on add open receivables. So here we are going to apply this receipt on the two transactions. One is invoice transaction, other one is debit memo. When you click on search, it can fetch only invoice transactions. It won't fetch debit memo transactions. Okay, it cannot fetch debit memo transactions. If you want to see debit memo transactions, you have to enable the checkbox. Click on add open receivables, expand the search. If you want to see the debit memo transactions, we have to include the checkbox called as include debit memos. Otherwise, it will fetch only open invoices. Okay, include debit memos also. Now search. Along with our invoice, it will fetch debit memo also. Now select both. Here select both. Here you click, it will get selected all available. Then click on done. So 25,000 receipt is applied on two transactions, which are 20 and 25. Save and close. This is how you can apply one receipt on multiple transactions. It could be debit memo or some other transaction. You can include and you can apply. So that's all about how to create the debit memo. So transaction with
If
memo.
we have reduced a lesser amount, will it prorate?
Sorry?
if you have if you have received a lesser amount, let's say 15,000, will it prorate in that case if you select multiple transactions?
It won't prorate. You have to select and you have to prorate. It cannot understand.
Okay, okay, okay.
You will select there, it will apply automatically the receipt amount maximum it will apply. Then you can reduce. Okay, not 5,000, only for 4,000 on this transaction. Remaining amount you can apply on the other transaction. You can update while you are applying.
Okay, yeah.
Fine. So transaction with the memo line. As a part of setups, we created memo line. Okay, where we can use that memo line, we'll see. Let's create one transaction. So when you are practicing also, what you can do is you can keep one tab for receipt creation, one tab for transaction creation, another tab always you may keep for setup purpose also. So that you don't need to keep switching from one to other. We don't need to waste our time. Quickly you can do. So apart from this tab, we have simple other shortcut also. Here is the favorite. You can add anything into favorites. Okay, or else in the recent items always you can find here. See receipt window or creation window, transaction window. You can navigate to transactions page by clicking on recent items. Click on create transaction. So we are going to create the transaction to include the memo lines. Select Alt INC invoice transaction. Customer is Alt INC. So I don't want to enter any description. I want to select the memo line. So we create it as Alt INC consulting services. Select the same will default as a description also. Here you can provide the amount and all. $500. So this is how you can create. Complete and review. You may select item or you may write the description, or else you can select memo line. If you select memo line, here you can auto accounting rule level also you can specify the same. If you want to derive the revenue account from memo lines, you can specify. Go to auto accounting rule. Select revenue. You can say take revenue account from standard lines, nothing but memo lines. Now, what are the, as per this memo line, what are the revenue account is available? That account only system will take for this accounting. Yeah. So that's how you can select. So depending on the client, how they want, accordingly you can facilitate. Okay, this is how you can create the transaction by using the memo line.
Lakshman, auto accounting, if we have not set it up, it will fetch from system options.
No, no, it won't fetch from anywhere. It will stop you from proceeding with the accounting.
Okay.
Okay. So it won't allow you to process because accounting is not there. You cannot perform the accounting. It will throw error message saying that so and so accounting values are missing. Manually, you have to go and enter. It won't take from the system options or somewhere else. It should be from auto accounting rule only.
Okay, auto accounting is mandatory.
Yeah, auto accounting is 100% mandatory.
Okay.
Now we'll see the chargeback transaction. What is the meaning of chargeback? So you have one customer and you created one transaction. Say you create a transaction. 1 second. Yep. So you have one customer and you created one transaction with $25,000. And payment terms maybe immediate, or you have given some other payment terms, but say today is the due date for the transaction. What customer is doing? Customer paid only 5,000. So we'll create receipt with 5,000 and we apply this receipt on the transaction. We apply that 5,000 receipt on 25,000 transactions. Still 20,000 would be outstanding within this transaction. Transaction amount is 25, customer paid only 5, we applied 5 reduced, outstanding is 20,000. Now, customer is saying, please postpone the due date. Customer is saying, please postpone the due date. For this 20,000, we have to postpone the due date. So we cannot go on to change the due date from the same transaction. Now what we have to do is, with this 20,000, we have to create the new transaction. Okay. New transaction with the 20,000. If you are creating a new transaction with a new due date, what about this 20,000? Okay, what about this 20,000? This 20,000 we have to close. We have to close this 20,000 and we have to reopen the same 20,000 with a new transaction with a new due date. That transaction we call as chargeback transaction. Why we are calling a chargeback? When you create the transaction with the 25, it means we are charging the customer. We are billing the customer. With some reason, customer paid partial amount, remaining amount, customer is requesting to postpone the due date. The customer is asking for new due date. For that reason, again we are creating the transaction, again we are charging back. That is the reason this transaction, what you create as a new for remaining open item, open amount. Okay, for remaining open amount, whatever the new transaction you are creating, that we call a chargeback transaction. This chargeback transaction we cannot create through manual process. This should be created by system only. Okay, this should be created by system. How system will create and all we'll see. And only one setup is we have to create receivable activity for chargeback. We create a receivable activities for on discount and on discount, since those are mandatory. You may give discount, may not give discount, but it is mandatory as per setup. So that we created. But if you want to perform the chargeback, you have to set up chargeback receivable activity. Create receivables activity chargeback. Okay. Create receivable activity for chargeback. Then we'll just simulate this in the system. Say perform chargeback system creates chargeback transaction. Create receivable activity for chargeback. Search for receivables activities. Manage receivable activities. So for every business unit, by default, system creates many receivable activities. Only the point is you have to add the account and you have to use those. Here is the activity called as chargeback adjustment. You click on chargeback adjustment. You don't need to create from the scratch. Oracle is providing chargeback adjustment. Here select activity GL account. Here you select none and select account. Chargeback account you have to provide, so that when how much amount we are chargebacking, system will post that amount into that account just for tracking. Here use chargeback account. No issues, any one of the chargeback account, that's fine. Say okay. Save and close. Receivable activity is ready. Now just simulate this. Create transaction with $25,000. Go to transaction workbench. Create transaction. Alt INC. Invoice. Alt INC. $25,000. Say complete and close. Transaction number is 1002. Create receipt with the 5,000. Customer paid. Here transaction, whatever we created, payment terms are immediate because we are using immediate payment term in the customer profile class. The same will be defaulted. Payment terms are immediate only. Customer has to pay today, but customer has to pay 25. Customer is paid only 5. Create receipt with the $5,000 and apply. Go to receipt workbench or receipt work area. Create receipt. How you receive the payments here through check. Receipt number is this. How much amount received? 5,000 received. From which customer? Alt INC. Select site. Submit and apply. Add open receivables. The transaction amount is 1002. Search. Apply on this transaction. Click on done. Now 5,000 receipt we applied on 25,000 transaction. Okay, and okay, so 5,000 is applied, 20,000 is outstanding. Save it. Now customer is requesting to postpone the due date for remaining amount. Okay, remaining amount. Okay, fine. Now we need to provide new due date for this remaining 20,000. So to give the new due date for this remaining amount, so go to actions, and here is the action called as create chargeback. Okay, create chargeback. And select. We created chargeback transaction type as a part of status, but we never created chargeback transaction source. We no need to create the source. Oracle provided source is available, that only system will use by default. Provide transaction type as a Alt INC chargeback, and system will default the account or receivables account, it will default. Because this transaction type level, that account is available receivable, same it will take. And here you have to give the due date. Here you have to give the due date. So what is the new due date? 29th. You may provide the reasons also. What reason you are doing this postponing, or you can write the comments. Now click on save and close. And this 20,000 system will hit to that chargeback receivable activity related account what we provided. So say save.
Sir, why is it taking distribution from that? We did not choose take it from transaction type, no, in auto counting.
No. Because it is defaulting here. Already it is there. By they given the functionality, like if anything is there, it will default. If you want to override, you can override. Okay. So that's how it is. The chargeback number system created is 1000001. Now find out the chargeback transaction. So go to transaction workbench, manage transactions. Alt INC is the customer. Search. Here is the chargeback transaction system created. So type we given Alt INC transaction source system is using system predefined source. And this chargeback is created against this transaction number 1002. Click on this chargeback transaction number which system generated. Okay. And if you scroll little down, here due date is this what we changed. This month ending 29th. So this is how we can create chargeback transactions if required. Okay. So we can close remaining amount. If you go to transaction 1002, 1002 only. 1002. There should not be any outstanding amount. Go to actions, view balances. So original amount is 25, receipts applied 5, adjustment. The chargeback is adjustment activity. We adjusted 20,000, now no outstanding. Reality 20 should be here, but we closed here and we opened with the chargeback transaction. So that's how you can perform the chargeback.
Lakshman, where is the association between this chargeback type that we have selected and the receivable activity that we have created? Where is the association between the receivable
No
activity?
association. We'll have a one receivable activity that everything will be fetched. System will verify when you are performing that activity is available with account or not. It will check. If that is not available, it won't allow you to perform this activity here.
Also, some sort of
Default
backend that we are
association.
not associating anything.
No
Okay.
association. No association. By default, it will check. If it is available, it will allow. If that is not available, it won't allow us to perform this chargeback activity. That's all.
Okay.
Sir, accounting entry wise, will it be, I mean, it's like receivables to
No,
receivables
no,
only,
no,
no? What we are
no.
creating.
No difference, because what you are doing, you are moving that amounts to different transaction to provide the new due date. Accounting entry is same.
Right, right.
Okay. So when you are creating the perform the chargeback system, copy receivables account, right?
Right, right.
If you
Okay.
want to track, you can track separate account. Receive accounts, receivable, chargeback. You may use different account. Then it would be like, so with that account, it will debit and revenue account will be created. But not
But
required.
we have chosen a different right? Credit card check chargeback. So
No, no. The amount will hit to that just for tracking, not for any accounting entry, just for tracking. So that you will be able to understand total how much chargeback is happened for certain period. You can produce some report and all. That purpose only. So your accounting remains same because what you are doing not different
okay.
activity. You are moving the balances from one transaction to another transaction. Since in original transaction dates you cannot change.
Okay, so in that case, posting is not required, no? Post to ledger.
Required. You have to create accounting and you have to transfer to GL. Posting is required because in the original transaction it got adjusted, right? It got
Yeah.
reduced. Posting is required. This accounting entry will just whenever you create like this chargeback, the amount 20,000 got adjusted, right? It got reversed in that. There
Okay,
is
so
outstanding.
like this already this early 20,000 exists, right? So if you account this, will it not be a duplication?
Whenever you perform this chargeback, that will be reversed.
Okay.
Okay. So when system will create this chargeback, it will reverse the 20 and it will create this transaction. We have seen, right? We verified the transaction 1 double
Mm-hmm.
two.
Yeah, yeah.
It given
Right.
minus 20,000 as adjustment. That means it reduced from the transaction. When it is reduced, where that is 20,000? That is here.
Okay, okay. Understood. Yeah.
That's how we are just moving from one to other. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Lakshman, if you want to use different account, we need to do auto accounting rule and set that, right?
No, no, no. It is not taking auto accounting rule. It is taking from the chargeback transaction type.
Okay.
We go to transaction types. Here we created chargeback transaction type. So from here it is taking that account.
Oh,
That you can override or else you can accept as it is.
oh, thank you.
Fine. So that's all about chargeback concept. Now we'll see what is on account receipt. On account.
Lakshman, next, the remaining amount we need to create the receipt and close that chargeback
That's it.
transaction, right?
Whenever
Normal
you get
as
the
usual.
payment as per the due date, you create the receipt, you apply. That's all.
Okay.
So there we have seen, right, by default it will display only invoice transactions. If you want to see the debit memo transaction, you have to enable the checkbox. In the same way, if you want to see the chargeback transactions, you have to enable the show chargeback transactions also. Then only it will display at the time of receipt creation. That we have to enable,
Oh,
we have to search. That's all.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So on account receipt. Say for example, you have a transaction, you create a transaction with the 9,900 and customer paid 10,000 receipt. Or else you can take the use case as customer by mistake paid twice. Amount could be same 9,900. Customer paid 2 times. Or else you take the case as transaction amount is 9,900 and receive 10,000. When you receive 10,000, yes, we will create the receipt with the 10,000, but we'll apply only up to transaction amount because we follow natural applications. So we apply 9,900 on the transaction, then this balance will become 0. Still, there will be $100 as unapplied. There will be $100 unapplied amount within the receipt. Total 10,000. From 10,000, only 9,900 applied. Still, we have a $100 which is unapplied. So, which is unapplied. Now, what we have to do with this $100? We have to talk to the customer. So, we have excess amount as 100 which we received from you. What are the different options customer has? Customer can say, one option is please refund. Or else customer can say keep with you. I'll use later. Customer can say please ignore. If customer says refund, we have to refund. How to refund, we'll see. That is a separate concept. We will see that we have in our list of items. If customer says please ignore, yes, we can ignore this 100. When you are ignoring how to deal with this amount, we'll see. But customer may not say yes to ignore $100. If this scenario is different, only $1, customer may say, I don't bother about that $1, ignore it. In that case, what is the treatment? We will see. Now the scenario we are taking, keep with you. Means customer saying, keep that amount with you. Whenever we will have a future transactions, we can use this amount to get adjusted. So that we call as keeping that amount on customer account, on account. Okay, on account. We have to keep that amount on customer account, temporary purpose. If you don't keep that amount on account, what happened is this amount would be available to apply on any transaction. Keeping amount on customer account means locking that amount. Okay, we'll move that $100 to customer account. So in future, you can release that amount and you can apply on any transaction. So later we will test how to refund that amount back to the customer and how we can ignore. Ignoring means closing that amount. Okay, we call as write-off. We'll discuss all those. Now we are going to pick this topic, which we call as on account. Okay, now that $100 will keep on account. Keep $100 on customer account. On customer account only we call as on account. Since we are keeping on account through receipt, we call as on account receipt. So create transaction with this amount and we can test the same. Create transaction with $9,990. Go to task pan, create transaction. And customer name is Alt INC. $9,900. Complete and close. The transaction number is 1003. Now create receipt with $10,000. Go to receipt work area. Click on create receipt. Select receipt method. The receipt number is this. Received amount is $10,000. Customer name is Alt INC. Customer site information. And click on submit and apply. Add open receivables. The transaction number is 1003. Search. Select. Add. So done. So from 10,000 amount, 9,900 is applied because we are using the natural applications. Still there is $100 unapplied amount. Now save it. Now customer is saying this amount to keep with us on customer account. If you don't move this amount from unapplied to on account, this would be available to apply on any transaction. But customer is saying that just move to on account, keep with you. I will tell you when that amount I want to adjust. This amount may be less or more, could be anything. So we have to lock this amount. How to do that? Go to actions and go to more, and select create on account application. What are the amount is available as unapplied amount that we will be moving to on account. So $100 you want to unapplied amount is 100. You want to move 100 or only 50. You can take decision and say okay. Now see here on account $100. Now save it. So this is how I'll create in future. Okay, done. In future, customer is saying there is certain amount which I paid excess amount that you apply on so and so transaction. Customer will inform. Then you can go to same receipt. Okay. Amount is in on account. If amount is in on account, you cannot apply on any transaction. System won't allow. What you have to do, you have to release it. Select on account, click on unapply application. So save and close. Now it will be released and will be available as unapplied. Then this amount you can apply on any other transaction. Click on search. So we have 500, just you can apply 100 of this. Now total amount is applied. Okay. So this is how you can apply and you can save it. So this is how just we can do the on account receipt creation. Now, so on account, now we'll see the miscellaneous receipt creation.
Lakshman, sorry, I didn't understand this. Like we have created on account, and it started displaying as on account amount on that receipt as $100. After that, after that, what?
We released and we applied on other transaction.
So within this same receipt, we can apply to the another transaction, or
Correct. Because amount is in the receipt only, right? From the
yes.
receipt only you can apply. Directly you cannot apply. If amount is sitting in the on account, we cannot apply. What we have to do? First we have to release.
Lakshman, is there any
One
accounting
second,
impact
don't mind.
when we do?
Let me answer to her. No, have you disconnected in between or what?
No, I heard, but it was just very
Okay.
quick
See,
actually.
what
So
I'm doing is amount was in on account, right? Earlier.
yes,
What I did is I selected that I unapplied.
okay,
That would be released and it will be moved to
unapplied.
unapplied. If amount is unapplied, you can apply on any transaction, right?
Yes.
That's what we did. We applied that amount.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
temporarily we
Yeah.
are locking that amount. That's it.
Okay, fine.
Temporarily we are locking. If you move any amount to excess amount to on account, or else say you received 10,000. Okay, you received 10,000. You are not sure this amount need to be applied in which transaction. There is no information from customer. If you keep that amount unapplied, anyone can apply this amount on any transaction, right?
But how anyone can apply? Because this receipt is also created against specific customer only, right?
One second. That specific customer transaction only. Any customer means not any transaction means not other customer transactions.
Okay,
Same
then
customer can have multiple transactions, right?
right.
I create a receipt. Okay. This receipt can be applied on any transaction or not? Tell me.
Yes.
Yes. If I don't move that amount on account, that amount would be available to apply on any transaction, but I don't
Yes.
have any clarity. I have to talk to my customer. This amount is paid for any specific transaction or it can be applied on any transaction.
Okay. So when customer will say, okay, I want to get applied it to so and so transaction, then only we will release and apply.
Exactly. Till the time you
Okay.
have to log that amount, right?
Okay.
Then
Fine.
move to on account. Then it will be locked.
Okay.
Whenever you get a confirmation from customer, release it by clicking on unapply application.
Okay. So
It will
let's
move
say
to
this is on account amount. It's there for like
on account
couple
only.
of months, 2-3 months. So how it will be shown is in accounting and all.
If amount is on account, it will create separate accounting entry.
Okay.
Yeah. You move the amount to on account and go and submit to create accounting. It will create on account based accounting entry. Okay. Based on the status, it will create. Based on unapplied amount or applied amount, it will create accounting account. You just try
Okay.
once from your side. Just these actions.
Okay. Will do. Thank you.
Yeah, I think somebody is saying something. I'm sorry. Yeah, please.
From receivable account, it will move to on account, Lakshman.
Hmm?
When you do on account.
Yes, it will move to on account. Yes.
Okay. And when again reapply it from on
Again, it
account to
will
receivable
reverse.
back.
Yes, it will come to the
Okay.
normal regular account.
Sir, on
Where
the
we
it will
set up
reduce
this
that.
on
Sorry.
one second. Lakshman, where we set up that on account details?
Sorry.
On account details where we mention from where it will fetch.
See, here, when you move to on account, the receipt point of view, you call it as on account receipt. Receipt
Okay.
point of view, you call as on account receipt. So depending on the scenarios, what are the different accounts you have at transaction type level, it will use. If receipt is whenever you just amount is unapplied, it will use unapplied receipt amount. You have accounts in the receipt method level. Those accounts it will use. For
Okay.
specific statuses, there won't be any account. Only you have to capture just on account means here you have to see that amount is on customer account. Okay. For a few statuses, there won't be any different accounting entry.
Okay. No,
Okay. There won't be
basically what
any different
I want to
accounting entry.
understand.
If, one second, we'll just go there. You can understand. If you go to receipt class and methods, receipt classes should be. Go to all INC. Open. Select your BU. Click on edit. So here you have.
Yeah, I got it.
So
On account receipts, unapplied receipts.
yeah, see, if the receipt is not at applied on any transaction, if the balances are available within the receipt with the status called as unapplied, this account it will hit. You
Okay.
move that balances into on account, then this account it will use. You didn't identify who is the customer. Okay.
Oh,
Customer is unidentified. You create a receipt, you saved, but customer information is not there. That balances it will hit into this
undefined.
account.
Yeah,
Okay.
unidentified.
And you provided receipt and customer information, everything is fine, good. And you applied that receipt on the transaction also.
Okay.
Now it will take
Receipt
receipt confirmation
confirmation.
account. And you submitted that, you transfer that receipt information to bank, remittance. We will come to know very soon. We'll do that
Okay.
activity. When we move that receipt to bank, that we call as remittance. Sending check to bank, we call as remittance. When you remit the receipt, system will use this remittance account.
Okay.
After sending to the bank, you did the bank statement reconciliation and it got reconciled. Now finally system will hit to the receipt with this account.
Cash.
Yep. So for that receipt, you given some discount. It will take you given within the discount terms or after discount terms. Accordingly, within this receivable activity, whatever the account is there, that account it will take.
Okay.
Okay. So that's how from here it will take. Based on the status, it will derive.
Basically, every setup picked from receipt methods and classes.
Receipt
All
means
the
receipt method only.
okay.
Transaction means auto accounting.
Okay.
Yeah, done.
Lakshman, how that discount will be hit, the discount account?
You create the payment terms like that. Okay.
Okay.
We create one payment term saying that 30 days. If you pay immediately or before 5 days, 10% discount. Now create the transaction. When you are creating the receipt, automatically system will calculate discount. Payment terms 30 days, but customer is paying within 5 days. In case of 5 days, 10% discount. It will calculate that amount will hit to this account. Accordingly, it will create accounting. Yeah.
Based on maturity date. Based on maturity date.
Maturity not. Here maturity is not a bills and all. No, not maturity, due date.
Yeah, due date, yes. Due
Yes,
date.
yes. So that's how it works. Yeah.
Sir, one thing here.
Please.
If we have a discount here, basically, so like if it's a cash discount, okay, we can do it payment terms. If it's like a quantity discount,
What is the
maybe
discount?
the quantity is more. If
No,
it's like a quantity discount,
quantity and all those not here. You will be just managing in the order management side. Okay. Here you can
okay,
set
okay.
straightforward. There you can set multiple rules and all. When you are creating the sales orders and all, you can apply all those different policies, etc. And the receivable side
Okay.
only you can set straight away the percentage of the discount based on the due dates. That's all.
Okay. Okay. And this accounting thing, I'm getting a bit confused. So if it's receipts, so we have to take from receipt classes. If it's transaction, it's auto accounting.
That's it.
And in auto accounting, if you have set rules like it has to take from memo lines, transaction type, receivable activity, then it will go to those things.
Correct.
Otherwise,
Ultimately,
this will go.
see, when you create the transaction, your
Hmm.
accounting will be derived by auto accounting rule. Auto
Auto accounting, yeah.
accounting may use the accounts which you are setting as a constant, or auto accounting will go to transaction type and it may derive. That how
Right.
you are setting. Ultimately, who will create accounting for transaction? Auto accounting. Auto accounting will take the responsibility. It may use constant, it may derive from specific source.
Okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, whatever some accounts we have set up at system options, so does it
And
go to
no,
that
no, no,
also?
no. That's what we are trying, we are discussing. No, those are system options, what accounts we are setting. The
Mhm.
accounts you have a like realized gain, loss, etc. Right? So those
Yeah,
accounts you
yeah.
will use when you record the foreign currency transaction if there is any variance between the rates.
Okay.
That's it. Yep. That's a different.
Okay. Okay, sir. Understood. Yeah.
Yep. So let's talk about miscellaneous receipt. Okay, we'll close this topic and we'll close for today. Miscellaneous receipt. I received just $10. Received $10. Why I received? There are a few old newspapers in the office I sold out. But that is not my business. But it is anyway revenue for me. What kind of revenue? Miscellaneous revenue. If the revenue if I'm getting from my business, that is a targeted revenue. So it is from old newspaper sales or some scrap sale, or you sold some old furniture, etc. etc. This sort of revenue, we don't create any transaction. We will not have any customer. Somebody will come and just we will give that scrap and we'll get $10, $50 or $100. Since that is revenue for organization, you have to record in the system as a miscellaneous revenue. To record the miscellaneous revenue, you no need to create the customer to whom you are selling. You no need to create the transaction. Simply what we have to do is you will create the receipt directly as a miscellaneous receipt. You have to create miscellaneous receipt. Create miscellaneous receipt. We create the miscellaneous receipt when we get the miscellaneous revenue into organization. But how to hit this amount, this $10 amount, you have to hit to which account? You want to hit this amount to which account? That you create as a receivables activity. Create receivables activity. Maybe you sold some newspapers. You say create receivable activity as a revenue from old newspaper. Old newspaper sale. Revenue from old furniture sale. Revenue from some miscellaneous service. Okay. So this is how like you can create the receivable activity, or else you create only one receivable activity. You don't need to worry about, you are not going to find out how much great revenue you got from old newspaper, old furniture, etc. Just you want to capture, simply you can give receivable activity name as a miscellaneous revenue. If you want to capture very detailed level why we are getting miscellaneous revenue, you can create for each reason one receivable activity, or else create one common receivable activity. Any miscellaneous revenue you get, that you will record in the system by using this receivable activity only. Now we'll see how to create the receivable activity for miscellaneous revenue, how we can create the miscellaneous receipt by using the miscellaneous receivable activity. Let's see. No customer, no transaction. If it is a standard receipt, that means you should have a customer, there should be a transaction. The receipt, what you are getting, the amount what you are getting, against which customer and which transaction you should be able to apply. Here, there is nothing you are going to apply. You will create the receipt. That receipt you will apply against the miscellaneous miscellaneous revenue related receivable activity. It means this amount we received because of this activity. Within the activity, you'll have an account. That's how we do the mapping. Let's see how to do in the system. Create receivables activity. Search for receivables activities. And here, you can just click on create. So you don't find all the activities, few activities system create. This receivable activity for miscellaneous revenue, you have to create. Select your business unit. Say revenue, you can say alt INC miscellaneous revenue, or else here you can give the exact name and select activity type as miscellaneous cash you received, activity is none, and provide that account here. The amount will hit to this account only. Select miscellaneous revenue account. Miscellaneous revenue. Or else you create one separate account as a newspaper sales. Set account type as a revenue that you can select. Say okay. Save and close. Now create miscellaneous receipt. Done. Create receipt. Here select receipt type as miscellaneous. Standard means there should be customer and the transaction. This receipt need to be applied on the customer transaction. Miscellaneous means no customer, no transaction. Once you select receipt type as miscellaneous, the fields will be changed in this page accordingly. So select miscellaneous. How you received $10 through check or whatever you can select. So receipt number, any number you can provide. How much you received? Only $10. Why you received? Because that is a miscellaneous revenue. Or else with the reason you can create the activity. So that's all. If you want to capture additional details, paid by who? Mr. X paid. If you want to write some comments, you can write some attachment, some supporting document as you received, accepted, some copy you can attach here. That's all. No customer, no application, nothing here. Say save and close. Now this $10 will hit to the account which is there in the receivable activity. So this is what we call as miscellaneous receipt creation. Okay, no customer, no transaction, but still the revenue what we get as miscellaneous we can capture into the system, and that amount will can hit to the account which you specify in the receivable activity. Okay.
Lakshman,
So
what
Lakshman
is the
here also,
accounting
because there is this receivable activity that we have created for miscellaneous, so system will do the backend. Like there is no direct association, right? So it's like backend checking only.
Sorry.
Because we have created the miscellaneous receivable activity, and we are not really associating it when we are creating the miscellaneous receipt, but system will just in the backend only will check if it is available or not, right? That receivable activity for miscellaneous is created or not.
We are selecting. I think why you are disconnecting.
In the receipt where we have selected.
You are attending, right? I'm sorry to say this. Just literally, I'm selecting and I'm just explaining each and everything. So, no,
Maybe it's just very
something we
quick
are
and I'm
not doing,
trying to take
you are
notes
not
also.
understanding, that is okay. Something we are doing, you are not catching, that's different. See, here we selected.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Lakshman,
Yeah,
hello.
yeah, please.
Lakshman, I need one scenario. Actually, I mean, not actually is later. Scenario is that two customers,
No,
duplicate
what
customers.
scenario? I didn't understand.
Double. Yeah, I'm explaining now. Okay,
No,
two
no, no. Okay,
customers.
one second. First of all, let me understand. Are you practicing? Are you doing something? Or is your client requirement? Or what is that?
That is my requirement actually. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, there is this two duplicate customers. Okay.
Hmm.
Some XYZ. Okay, so XYZ both are created customers with both are in two different BUs. Okay,
Hmm.
one receipt is some receipts are in one BU and another receipts are another BU. Okay, those two has to be merged along with the site level. Okay, any option is there?
Both.
Customer merging at site level.
Okay. You want to belongs to different BUs.
Yeah, both are belongs to transaction and receipts are belongs to different BUs.
Hmm.
Okay, I want to merge the parties and customer account and sites as well.
No, no, no. See,
After that, I
different.
want to be one customer. I
See,
have to be
no, no, I
duplicate
got it.
customer. I have to be like to yeah.
I got it. But see, BUs are different, right?
Yes, yes. BUs are so different. So that's what I want to merge the site as well.
No, no. BUs are different. There is a catch. We just directly it is not possible. BU same means there won't be an issue with accounting, etc. There won't be any challenge. So, have you tried in the system to try to merge?
Yeah, I try to merge it, but it is actually the customer party level only it is merging. Site level, it is not merging actually.
Because your BUs also different, right? Party is a party. That is okay. Party level it can be merged.
BUs means I mean multiple BUs. Okay, okay. Around 16, 18 BUs are there. Okay, BUs sites are created 16 sites. Okay,
Hmm.
but the thing is actually all the sites is what is the customer A has 16 sites. Customer B also having 16 sites. Okay, those 16 sites have to move from here to from A to B. Okay, so at the time, okay, how we can measure? Earlier in R12, we are sites also merging is there, right? I can see something it is coming or existing site you can use it. But in Fusion, what is that functional?
Then how accounting you want to manage when you merge the sites and all balance and segment values, everything is different, right? Accounting, how you want to play
Yeah,
around with
that,
that.
that is actually that I want to manage the same site level we are assigning receivable and revenue and unearned revenue accounts. Okay,
Hmm.
same has to be shipped over there. There is no difference actually. Is a
What about balance
customer
and
site?
segment values?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is the reason there is a like blocker. Okay, I'll just let me verify from my side what you are asking.
Yeah, please. Yes,
Yeah, I'll
thank you.
check once.
Lakshman,
Yeah,
accounting entries will be for miscellaneous receipt, cash debit, credit will be miscellaneous revenue, right?
yeah, revenue account. Yes, correct. So direct entry.
Okay. And Lakshman, when we did AP, right, we did it all BUs payments, right? We can select either all the
All we
invoices
use payments we did. Where we did
in AP, in AP.
AP, all we use payments. I didn't understand.
No, when we are doing a payment for the invoices, there is an option, right? Specify the BU or all BUs like that.
Payments, all we use. No, I
Okay,
don't.
that's okay. I will ask in here. In receivables, can
No,
we
no,
do
no. One second.
inter-entity
One second. We go to payables. Payments.
payables?
All we use is not there. Where you have seen. Let me understand that point. So payables here. Go to payments. Yeah, tell me where all we use.
Create a payment. Yeah, create a payment.
Yeah.
If you come down after selecting supplier, we will add right here invoice selection payment process. I think not this one. PPR.
Oh, that is PPR. PPR, yes, yes. So the payment process request, what you can do is payment process request level, you are not giving any all BUs, etc. You will give criteria. Based on the criteria, system will select invoices from one BU or multiple BUs. It will have a Again, condition like whether you have access to all the BUs or not, the bank account what you are selecting, it is associated with all the BUs or not. That's what system will check. In the payment
Okay.
process, profile definition time, we given the criteria as a specific BU or all BU to be used.
Okay, the payment will happen individually but we can select
That
multiple.
payment process profile can be used in any BU. That is the point.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
In receivables, I have one doubt. Basically, can we do inter-entity receivable, like one entity to another entity, I can transfer the receipt amount?
Yeah, I mean, we have a function. You can apply any other customer related receipts to this. So in the system options, we have one checkbox. You can enable and you will be able to do that.
Like basically, I have two companies. Bank account is mapped in one company only. I need to apply transactions created in two entities, two companies.
You have a transaction in one entity, one BU.
Two BUs, two transactions, one BU in one transaction, another BU one transaction. But I received only the bank amount in one bank, which is in company one,
Okay, okay,
and want to apply for both transactions in different BUs.
okay. Here, one
No,
second.
but you can assign, right? You can assign the bank account to this two BU or another BU as well, right?
System options. If you go to system options, there is one control. You can enable and you will be able to apply the receipt.
No.
Yeah, this is what. Allow any business unit to process receipts.
Okay, you can create a receipt in one entity.
Yeah, that's
and
what. See here. Allow any business unit to process receipts. Receipt you
in
can create with
EBS.
any BU for other BU related transactions. You can apply.
Okay.
You enable the checkbox and try.
In EBS, it is not there, right, Lakshman? This option.
We have in EBS, we have unrelated transactions, some different passion we have. Okay.
Okay.
This here it is possible. Just enable the checkbox and try. Should work.
Okay. Thank you.
Fine, fine, fine. Yeah.
Lakshman, this option is under which one? Which option? This one? Under this one? Plus BU application? This one?
System options.
System option.
Oh,
Receivable
oh,
system
okay, okay.
option.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you.